You know that specific moment in the 1971 Willy Wonka movie?
Oh, the tunnel scene?
Yes.
Yeah.
The boat ride scene
Yeah.
where they go into the tunnel and the lights start flashing and images of chickens getting their heads cut off pop up on the walls.
And Gene Wilder just starts screaming.
Exactly. It's that one moment where the whimsical candy-colored dream suddenly curdles into a total nightmare.
It's the exact moment every child watching realizes that this magical factory is actually a death trap.
Right. Now, imagine if the entire movie was just that tunnel scene.
Oh, me.
But instead of just scary images, you add heavy narcotics, automatic weapons, and a complete psychological breakdown.
That is a lot.
It is. And that is exactly what we are jumping into today. We are looking at a text, these lyrics, this reimagining that takes the golden ticket mythos and drags it into a really grimy, terrified reality.
It is such a fascinating piece of work.
Yeah.
If I had to describe it, I'd say it's a collision between Roald Dahl's original cautionary tales and the frantic energy of a drug-fueled crime thriller.
A crime thriller.
Yeah, it's what we might call euphoric horror.
Euphoric horror. Okay, that sounds like a massive contradiction. Usually, horror is meant to make you feel well. Horrible, not euphoric.
True, but think about the tempo here. The text describes this really high-energy, manic experience, the colors, the fizzy lifting sensation.
Right.
But the actual events are gruesome. It's the feeling of a bad trip where you are terrified, but you can't stop the sensory overload.
Like a freight train you can't get off.
Exactly. It's a descent into madness wrapped in a candy wrapper.
So let's open up this wrapper for you guys listening. The text doesn't waste any time easing us in. You'd expect an intro, right? Maybe some pure imagination strings?
You would think.
But the very first image we get is Wonka. But not the Wonka we know.
He is screaming.
Yeah, he's totally unraveling.
The opening lines are literally orange bastards everywhere. You're all fired, you freaks.
Immediate hostility.
Right. The benevolent, eccentric mask is totally off. He is paranoid, he is aggressive, and he is armed.
Yeah, that line really stuck out to me.
Yeah.
Grab an automatic or I'll ventilate your hides.
Ventilate your hides.
That is such a cold gangster way of speaking. It instantly changes the genre.
Complete.
We aren't in a fantasy anymore. We're in a siege.
It creates this intense sense of militarization. The factory isn't a place of creation anymore. It's a fortress.
Right.
And look at his reasoning in the text. He says, the chocolate shit's a bust. The candy empire reeks.
He's admitting the dream failed.
Yes. The sweetness is rotting.
And he says they are cranking this party to the edge where sanity collides.
Which sounds very deliberate.
It does. Like he's trying to break reality on purpose.
I think he is.
Yeah.
And the text gives us the exact mechanism for that break. It isn't magic, it's chemistry.
Yeah.
Specifically, it says Wonka's LSD slammed in like a freight train of fire.
Which explains the insane visuals that follow right after.
Yeah.
The text mentions purple walls breathing, clocks melting in the pyre.
A classic surrealist image, right? The melting clocks?
Salvador Dali.
Exactly. It suggests that time itself is losing its structure in this factory.
But what's really disturbing is the element that comes next, because it's not just psychedelics. The text brings in something much grittier.
You mean the Oompa-Loompas?
Yeah, or specifically what they are consuming.
Right. The text says, Oompa-Loompas, orange hordes snorting blue death, Heisenberg's sins.
Okay, Heisenberg's sins. That has to be a Breaking Bad reference.
Without a doubt. It frames the blue death as high-purity methamphetamine.
That changes everything about the dynamic in the factory.
It really does.
If the Oompa-Loompas are fueled by meth, they aren't these happy, singing workers anymore. They're addicts.
Yes.
They're a slave labor force running on stimulants.
Precisely. It totally strips away the Disneyfication of the workforce.
Right.
In the original story, there's always been this somewhat uncomfortable colonialist undertone to the Oompa-Loompas. You know, imported workers paid in cocoa beans.
Right. It's always been a bit weird.
Well, this text just rips that subtext open and makes it the actual text. They are orange hordes dependent on the product they help create.
It's incredibly dark. And right as we are processing this horrific image of meth-addled Oompa-Loompas, the text shifts into this chorus that feels deceptively chill.
It's a massive tonal whiplash.
Yeah. It says, everything's so mellow now, swirling in the glow. Don't panic. Let the madness flow.
It is a trap.
It feels like one. It's telling you to relax into the storm.
Mhm.
It's practically gaslighting the listener.
Totally.
Like, oh, don't worry about the guy with the automatic weapon. Just float downstream.
That is the nature of the high the text is describing. It's the golden ticket's curse. The text frames the factory as a wild ride, but notice the phrasing it uses.
Okay.
The dark side's whispering sweet nothings inside.
Wow.
It's seducing you. It wants you to let go of your survival instinct entirely.
And then there's that parenthetical line. You let the chaos win, now ride the crimson wave till you subside.
The crimson...
Yeah, crimson wave sounds incredibly ominous. Like, we're definitely not talking about fruit punch here.
We certainly are not. That crimson wave is direct foreshadowing of the violence to come. It's a promise. If you surrender to the chaos, you will be washed away by it.
So we have this internal collapse happening. Wonka's losing it, the workers are high, the walls are breathing. But then the outside world tries to intervene.
The police show up.
Which is usually the moment in a story where order gets restored, right? The authorities arrive, they arrest the bad guy, the movie ends.
But here, the arrival of the police just adds gasoline to the fire.
The description of them is amazing. Badges gleaming like fool's gold.
That is such a key comparison. The golden ticket was gold, and now the badges are gold.
Both are promises.
Exactly. One is a promise of paradise, one is a promise of law and order, and the text calls them both fool's gold.
They're fake.
Yes. They hold no real power in this environment.
The cops try to do the standard police procedural thing. You're under arrest. You don't have to say shit. But if you fold, it's so aggressive, so grounded in reality.
Yeah.
But the factory just, it absorbs them.
The environment fights back, but not with bullets. At least not yet.
It fights back with atmosphere.
Yes. Gold cocaine on lolling tongues, fizzy lifting haze. The air itself is weaponized intoxication.
It says the guests are lost in trance, souls dancing in a deranged romance. It's like the cops have walked into a biological hazard zone, but the hazard is pure pleasure.
And this leads to my favorite and maybe the most terrifying concept in this whole piece, the weaponization of the candy itself.
Right.
The police aren't shot, they are converted.
Pills that sprout wings. I mean, what a visual. The cops gobble them down. Why do they do that? They're supposed to be arresting him.
Think about the sensory overload we just talked about, the blue crystal storm.
Yeah?
The text implies that the temptation is just irresistible, or perhaps the haze actually forces compliance.
They don't have a choice.
Right. Either way, the result is immediate assimilation. They transform from blue boys into sprites of flight.
Invisible rages, levitating laughs. It's like they lose their humanity instantly.
LSD merges with meth-mad magic.
And look at the result. Battens dropped in fizzy pools of glee. They drop their weapons.
They forget oaths in the candy cyclone.
This is such a profound statement on the fragility of authority. All the training, the badges, the laws, it all dissolves the second it touches this level of chaotic excess.
It's almost like a zombie movie, but instead of eating brains, they're just vibing, floating around like banshees.
Banshees free, the text calls them.
Which is important. Banshees are spirits that scream to herald death. So even though they are gleeful, they've become harbingers of the massacre that is about to start.
And that is the pivot point.
Yeah.
The text says, Wonka grins, top hat askew, then the devil takes the wheel.
Yeah.
And suddenly the whimsical floating cops aren't the focus anymore.
Not at all. The playful weaponization stops dead, and the industrial slaughter begins.
This part, man, it gets graphic.
It really does.
Huge machine gun belts feeding fury. We go from pills, sprouting wings, to brass rain. But what's weird to me is that the text keeps describing it almost like a music video.
Yes, this is what critics call aestheticized violence.
Right.
Think A Clockwork Orange. The text says the machine gun spits to the beat. The rhythmic thunder syncsing with the snare's crack.
Bullets groove like bass lines. That line actually made me shiver. It's making the violence catchy.
The listener forces you and me to be complicit.
Wow.
If you are nodding your head to the rhythm of the text, you are nodding your head to the gunfire.
That is messed up.
It describes the blood splatter as painting walls in crimson abstract. It's literally turning murder into modern art.
And the targets, the pigs, as the text calls them, are torn open in the euphoric spray.
There's that word again.
Euphoric. It's like the violence is just another drug they are consuming.
It connects right back to that idea of excess. Whether you are consuming sugar, consuming drugs, or consuming violence, it's all part of the same dopamine rush in this nightmare factory.
And then we get the payoff for that earlier foreshadowing. The chocolate river.
The central artery of the factory.
Filling the chocolate river with uniforms afloat. And then this image, corpses bob like marshmallows in the red vein flow.
That is the image that breaks the mythos permanently.
You can never unsee that.
Never. It takes the most innocent, delightful concept, a river of chocolate, and turns it into a mass grave.
And the comparison to marshmallows is so grotesque because it completely dehumanizes the victims.
They're just more confectionery floating in the mix.
It's horrifying.
Yeah.
And the Oompa-Loompas aren't stopping it. They are humming dirges and scrubbing sins from the sticky afterglow.
They're just the janitorial staff for the apocalypse.
Exact.
They're complicit, but they're trapped in the cycle. But I think we need to look at what is happening inside Wonka's head while this is all going down.
Because there's a section of the text that dives into his hallucinations.
Right. The other verse 4 from earlier in the text, Wonka is seeing things that might not even be there.
Candy skulls whisper, "Your time is near."
He's projecting his own death wish onto the candy. He hears paranoid laughter.
But does he stop?
No.
The text says, but he just does another line and drinks a beer.
He's numbing himself to the horror he is actively creating.
And then, okay, we have to talk about the drag queens.
It is such a bizarre detour.
Oompa-Loompas in drag queen wigs grinding on cops with their meth pipe rigs. I mean, it's so specific and so absurd. It feels like a fever dream inside a fever dream.
It emphasizes the grotesque carnival nature of the scene. It's sexualized, it's gritty, and it is completely unhinged.
It destroys any remaining shred of childlike wonder.
Exactly. But the most significant hallucination of all is the ghost.
Gene Wilder.
Hallucinations of Gene Wilder's ghost, mocking him loud, "You're the fiend we toast."
That is meta on a whole other level. It's the original character judging this reimagined monster.
It's a moment of hauntology, the past haunting the present.
Right.
Gene Wilder represents the good Wonka, the one who is eccentric, sure, but ultimately kind.
Yeah, a little weird, but benevolent.
By having his ghost appear and call this new Wonka a fiend, the text is acknowledging exactly how far it has strayed.
It's the character's conscience screaming at him, manifesting as his former self.
You're the fiend we toast. That's brutal.
He's being celebrated and condemned at the exact same time.
And that psychological fracture is what leads to the inevitable crash.
You can't sustain that level of machine gun bass lines forever.
No, the song has to end. The high has to wear off.
And that brings us to the outro, the come down.
Mm-hmm.
And the shift is instantaneous.
Totally abrupt.
Wonka's finger slips the trigger, regret creeps like come down chill.
Anyone who has dealt with an adrenaline dump or substance abuse knows that feeling. The come down chill.
The world goes from technicolor to gray in a single second.
And he has this sudden moment of clarity.
What the fuck have I wrought? This ain't no dream, it's all too real.
That is the true horror story here. The barrier between the drug-fueled fantasy and reality shatters into pieces.
He looks around, and he doesn't see a candy empire anymore.
He sees a slaughterhouse.
The descriptions in the outro are so incredibly bleak. Nightmare etched in cocoa stains. It's dirty. It's stained.
And the Oompa-Loompas have transformed again. They aren't hordes anymore. They are orange ghosts in crimson chains.
That's a powerful image.
They are prisoners of this event, mopping up the blood. The party is over, and they are left with the mess.
The music changes, too. Marimbas mocking the final puff.
That's a brilliant sonic detail in the text. Marimbas are the sound of Willy Wonka. Bouncy, light, tropical.
But now, in the silence of the aftermath, that happy sound feels mocking.
It highlights the absolute absurdity of the violence.
And then we get the final image. Guitars wail to silence, bass thuds like a dying heart.
A dying heart. The factory is dead. The dream is dead.
Dark side prevailed, ticket burned, torn apart from the start, and then just that whisper, what the fuck?
Torn apart from the start. That line implies that this was inevitable.
How so?
Well, you can't build a world on pure, unchecked indulgence, whether it's sugar or meth or power, without it eventually eating itself. The golden ticket wasn't a gift.
It was an invitation to destruction.
Yes.
It really makes you think about the original story differently. Like, was Wonka always this close to the edge? Was the original factory just a prettier version of this trap?
I think the text suggests that the potential for this darkness is always there in escapism.
Escapism in general.
Exactly. We want to go to a place where the rules don't apply. We want the fizzy lifting drink. But when you remove all the rules, you don't just get flying.
You get chaos.
You get the crimson wave.
That's a heavy thought for you to sit with. We spend so much of our time looking for our own golden tickets, our own escapes from the real world.
We really do. We consume media, we doom scroll, we look for anything at all to numb the reality.
We take the pills that sprout wings.
Exactly.
So here's the question we want to leave you with today. We looked at the cops in this story. They took the pills, they ignored their oaths, and they got totally swept away by the current.
Assimilated.
Right. In our own lives, with all the distractions we have at our fingertips, are we doing the exact same thing?
Are we swallowing the pills just so we can ignore the crimson wave rising around us?
Are we floating in the haze while the factory burns down? It is a very uncomfortable mirror to look into.
Definitely not as sweet as a Wonka bar.
Not even close. But hey, that's why we do these deep dives. If you have the stomach for it, go read the full source text. It is a wild, terrifying ride.
Just remember to check the ingredients label first.
Solid advice. Thanks for diving in with us today. We'll catch you on the next one. Stay safe.